Well, they're certainly trying to normalize punishing people who are living lives that, quote unquote, they don't approve with. For example, being a police officer, anything, any type of law enforcement that's actually enforcing the law rather than holding the door open for criminals. So, I mean, the idea that you could take millions of dollars and get 6 months in jail or a year in jail, whatever those sentences were, I mean, I think a lot of people would take that deal. Like, you're not going to make $1 million. Most Americans, a lot of the people who are committing these crimes, you're not going to make $1 million in a year. So you make a few million, stash it with your family, go to jail for a year, and come out a millionaire. Um, I'm joking a little bit because obviously they seize back what they can, but if you get rid of it fast enough, it's absurd. It's
That's
absolutely
right.
absurd.
The big pushback for this story, the narrative that they're using to kind of soften this, how bad this looks, is this judge, and how this judge is this, quote, Trump appointed judge. But the backstory behind this judge is actually really interesting, because it turns out she was part of this deal, like the wheeling and dealing that happens in judicial nominations. I guess she actually was kind of pushed through by Senator Amy Klobuchar, who's not a Republican.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, no, she's definitely not a Republican. So, but I mean, I don't know
But
whether
the judges,
she's a Trump
though,
Sorry, go ahead.
well, the judges in these stories, though, they've often gotten a free pass. And I know that we're not supposed to attack judges. We're supposed to say judges are this sacred position and judges are unbiased. They have no position here and they need to be kind of untouchable. But it seems like we're at a time in history where we kind of have to start putting a magnifying glass on what these courts are pulling.
Yeah, and we're seeing more on the left than on the right. I think the right would do it if they were as organized as the left, but they're not. But we're seeing a push mostly from the left of really pressuring judges, weaponizing the justice system in a way that pressures judges to rule in political ways. You used to have the political question doctrine, right? Where judges say, "Oh, we don't wade into the political," right? And that's out the window now.
Right.
I can't remember. I don't know the last time a judge said that's a political question that we don't consider, who probably never in our lifetime. But yeah, I mean, it's become so political. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that legislatures really have abdicated their responsibilities. I mean, so much of this needs to be legislated. And when you have, and I'm thinking particularly on the federal level, when you have a Congress who's refusing to rein in certain aspects of political operations, the courts weigh in, right? They counterbalance each other, and so the courts are weighing in a lot more now. Where we used to see the legislatures it really being an issue of legislation, but now the courts are doing it, and the legislatures aren't stopping them. The legislatures are like, "You're right. We can't do anything. We can't function. So go ahead and do our job." So we're seeing a lot of legislators on the bench right now, particularly on the federal level.
You've tracked a lot of the money that go into these groups that help push lawfare forward, especially from the left. How have you noticed recalibration for the left when it comes to the left and how they conduct lawfare? The players are still the same, but is the game still the same, or are they adjusting?
Yeah, well, I think the left recognizes that the government has gotten so bloated that it doesn't really function. Like, you look at the Department of Justice and you see how bloated it is. And I mean, even, with Pam Bondi's termination today, the president's frustrated because nothing's happening, right? That's kind of the trend. Nothing's happening. And I think the left figured that out faster. And so they did a workaround and they privatized it. And they have several nonprofits that actually do the work. They work up all the cases, and then they just hand them off to the political attorney general, whether it's at the state level or the district attorney, or maybe in some cases the federal attorney general. For example, Jack Smith had he was outside, right? He was special counsel and then brought in people from outside. So the left has done when I say good job, I don't mean it's a good thing, but they've done a very good job of organizing outside of the government to get the work done. And then they just plop people in to actually execute. And then the rest of the bloat just sits there and does nothing. And then Republicans get in and they try to work through the bloat. So I think, I mean, that's what we're seeing. And these nonprofits are funded, right? It's not government money. It doesn't take government money. You don't need an act of Congress to create them. You don't need congressional approval on their budget. And they're lean and mean. And they, a lot of these state attorney general's office have 15 lawyers in them, and yet they're filing lawsuits every single week against the Trump administration. How are they able to do that? Like with the small team that they have, how are they able to do that? Well, it's because nonprofits are doing it and then just handing them the cases.
Some of the left-wing media are freaking out over this new contract between us at OANN and YouTube TV.
It's dangerous that One America News is being platformed on such a large digital streaming pay TV provider. You're freaking out about the fact that people have choice. Like people can't be allowed to hear what they have to say. OAN is not the only channel on YouTube TV. There's like dozens of them. So if you don't like what's being said here, we hope you stay, but there's many other things going on in the world. This is how the left operates, Alicia. They operate in censorship. They don't believe in choice and letting people do their own homework. This is the way the authoritarian left works. They don't believe in choice because they don't like the fact that we don't live in the 1960s anymore with 3 networks and your local newspaper.
We have to respect freedom of the press, the First Amendment, free speech. Remember that.
I want to begin tonight by welcoming and thanking all of our new viewers on YouTube TV. Overnight, One America News welcomed a potential 9.4 million new viewers on YouTube TV. So on behalf of everyone here at OAN, welcome to One America News. We are incredibly excited to have you.
This will allow all YouTube TV subscribers to enjoy 16 hours of live news coverage every single day, as well as all of AWE's lifestyle, travel, and family programming, and it will be available in YouTube TV's baseline package. Now, the Vice President and Global Head of Media at YouTube, Justin Connolly, said this about it. Our goal has always been to provide our subscribers with a wide range of content, which is why we're excited to bring One America News to YouTube TV. This partnership gives One America News access to our growing audience, while also giving our subscribers even more choice when it comes to news and entertainment. And we here at The Real Story are extremely grateful for the opportunity to now reach a wider audience. And we're also grateful for the time you give us each and every single day. And we're excited for the future at this amazing network.